Hello folks, welcome back to MPD Community Updates, hosted by myself, Community Service Officer Robert Kelleher. Welcome back. So today we're going to talk about some summer issues. I hope everybody's having a wonderful summer. It's been a hot summer, which I'm not complaining, but along with a hot summer comes a lot of issues regarding the community. So the first issue I want to talk about is the water restriction. From the Merrimack Village Water District, they put on a odd-even water restriction for your watering is 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So by putting that restriction on, it will help, cut down the supply and the demand for, large amounts of water in, severe heat conditions. As you know, we are in a drought, condition in New Hampshire. All water levels are down. So we'd appreciate you if you, follow the water restriction ban. That way, the community won't have to worry about any further, water bans. I know other communities in New Hampshire have, more stringent water bans. So, we're kind of fortunate here in Merrimack that it's just a restriction at this time. So please obey the restrictions, and, they will have people going around town, making sure that, people do obey the restrictions. And if you have any other further questions, please feel free to call the Merrimack Village District office, and, they'll be more than happy to answer any questions. So if you have questions like, can I water my garden, or, any such questions like that, please, I just refer everybody, just call the Merrimack Water Village District and they'll be able to answer all your questions. Okay, the next issue I want to talk about is, and it's been around since July 1st of 2015, and we all know, hopefully, what I'm talking about. It's the New Hampshire hands-free law. Okay, I have it, holding it up here. It's the law that came into effect July 1st, 2015. Okay, so what hands-free law means, it does not mean you can hold your phone and talk in the speaker while driving. We're seeing many people that have their phones like this and they think they're obeying the law. Okay? This is not hands-free. Just because you have your speaker on in your phone and it's not up to your ear like this, okay, you're in violation of the hands-free law. So to avoid that, if your vehicle doesn't have Bluetooth built into the car, all these smartphones have Bluetooth capability, which this little earpiece right here, I'll hold up. This is what a Bluetooth earpiece looks like. If you can see that, it's very small and it's very comfortable actually. I'll show you. You put it in your ear, just like that, okay? And it's very clear, and you don't have to yell into it in order for people to hear you. It has a very sensitive microphone, and you can just talk in a normal voice, but you do not have to hold your phone. So you can have your phone in a safe place, and you can have two hands on your wheel and you can be focused while you're still talking on your Bluetooth. That's what the hands-free law is. So I want to tell you that because I don't know how people think that holding their phone and talking into it is hands-free, okay? And we'll talk about, the fines and the penalties for it, which I'm sure people that don't want to spend their hard-earned money, in fines. But the first offense, as you can see, it's $100 plus penalty assessments. So it comes out to $120 for your first offense. Okay, your second offense is $250 with penalty assessments. I believe that usually comes out to like $320. And then your third offense, which if you haven't learned your lesson by that point, I guess the fine really doesn't matter. But it's $500 plus penalty assessment, and I believe it's up in the upwards of $600. So please, hands-free. If you come upon an emergency situation and you need to call 911, you won't be violating the hands-free law if you're calling 911. So it's, it was designed to keep everybody safe on the road. And another key point I wanted to make is it says drivers while driving or temporarily halted in traffic for a stop sign or traffic signal or other mandatory devices. So please, when you come to the stop sign or a traffic light, you cannot be texting on your phone and looking down like I am now, because it's not safe. The light turns green, you have people beeping because you're not paying attention, or the emergency apparatus might be coming up behind you. So please, you're in violation of the hands-free law while you're sitting in traffic or at a stop sign or any temporary halt in traffic. Okay? So if you have one of these Bluetooth, and they're making them, they're inexpensive, they're high quality, so please do yourself a favor. Go out and spend a few dollars and get a Bluetooth. If you need to use that phone while you're in your vehicle, which I don't recommend, but if you, of that person that needs to use it while you're in your vehicle, invest in a Bluetooth, an earpiece, or they have other devices. It's going to be a lot cheaper than getting a ticket, paying the fine, and I'm sure your insurance companies do not like a distracted driver, because we've talked about the risk of accidents. They're saying you're at a higher risk of an accident being distracted on a cell phone than DWIs. So we know how dangerous DWIs are. It should show you and prove to you how dangerous a distracted driver is. So please, and I brought this along too. If you missed anything I said or misinterpreted what I said or I didn't say it clearly, I will hold this up. This is the New Hampshire RSA, and you can go right on the internet and find all the RSAs that govern all the rules of the road. So any violation on the road, it's Chapter 265, Rules of the Road, and the RSA is 265:79 8:C, and it's called Use of Mobile Electronic Devices While Driving. So if you have any questions, please go on the internet and research it yourself so you're fully aware of what you can and can't do with any electronic devices. Okay, that includes GPSs and iPads, any of those electronic devices. Okay? So what I tell people, if you have a hard time, if you have your phone on and you get an alert that you have a text message or a voicemail or email, right? Best thing for you to do, just put your phone on silent until you get to where your destination is, right? Most of the time it's, a short trip somewhere. Then you can pick your phone up and see if you missed anything. But if your phone is on silent, you won't know whether you got an email or a voicemail or a text message until you get to your destination. So that might be a good practice for everybody to get into. Might save you some aggravation and some money. So the next thing I want to talk about, and I've talked about it a lot, and we're still dealing with cases. Folks, you have to lock your vehicles up. And we've already arrested this summer 7 or 8 people that have gone through cars that were unlocked. I don't want to say breaking into cars, because not one of them smashed a window or used some device to break into a car. They merely walked around and they checked for unlocked vehicles, and they found a bunch of them. They stole a lot of property, and fortunately we did. From great citizens, part of our neighborhood crime watch groups, we received a couple phone calls. Somebody saw some suspicious people late at night, and they called us, which we praise them for. That's what we need. And we had a quick response, and we get out there, and we actually arrested, I believe it's 7 or 8 people at this point for breaking in or going through unlocked vehicles. So please, especially the condo complexes where there's a lot of vehicles in a short area, those are more high-risk areas. We call them high-risk. So if you live in an area like that, really, please lock your cars. Merrimack is a safe community, and we're thankful for that. But they're not actually smashing and breaking windows and getting into cars. They're just going around checking doors. If they're unlocked, they'll go through your car, steal whatever they want to steal, and move on to the next one. So if you don't want to be a victim, the simplest thing to do is lock your vehicles. Okay, I can't say it enough. I cringe every time we take a report of, theft out of a motor vehicle, and 10 out of 10 times the vehicle was left unlocked. So please help us. And if you want to think of it this way, the epidemic we're having with heroin and those opiate addictions, we're seeing those type of folks who are addicted to those drugs. That's how they're getting their supply. They're not working. They don't have jobs, so they're going around and stealing property, trying to get their fix. So please lock your cars. It will help us. It will help the community, and hopefully we can cut down on these calls for services. The next thing I want to talk about is phone scams. Unfortunately, these are very hard to work. They're hard to trace. With the computer-generated phone calls, most of these scams are generated out of the country, and it's almost impossible to track down where the scammers are calling from. So it's a really difficult process for law enforcement to track down, and when you do track it down, if you can, it's out of our jurisdiction. So the process, just falls apart. But please, so what we can do is help educate people not to become a victim of these phone scams. I hope we've said it enough and put it out every way we can. It's been on the national news, local news. Anytime somebody, the IRS scam is a big one right now. If you paid your taxes or if you didn't pay your taxes. So if you're getting a phone call, say you're my age, 49 years old. Oh boy, I'm getting old. But 49 years old, I've never received a call from the IRS, right, that I owed them money. And if I did owe them money, I would certainly know that I owed them money. And unfortunately, I've never got a phone call from the IRS saying that they owe me money. So I just want to say, if you get one of these scam phone calls from the IRS saying that you owe money and we're going to come down and arrest you if you don't immediately go to Shaw's on the boulevard and get 6 gift cards and send them to this person, that you'll be arrested. Okay? Everybody should know that that's a scam. But I understand, when people hear the IRS and they might throw out some other government agencies, people get nervous, and, good, honest people, take other people's word for granted that, they're honest too. But unfortunately, this day and age, that's not the case. And I can tell you some of these phone scams are really sophisticated. And, if you're not really thinking about it, if your mind's somewhere else and you get this phone call, you might get fooled into thinking that it's real. So what I always tell people is, please don't do nothing without telling at least one other person, or call the police department and just run it by somebody, right? I always tell people, first try to call a family member, right, and run it by them. 10 out of 10 times, that person who didn't receive that phone call, but you're telling them what they said, they will be able to pick up on that immediately, that it's a scam. Okay? Or if you call the police department, we'll be able to tell you, it's a scam. Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to come and arrest you, without us being notified, and, that's not the case. Okay? So here's a few more key points to remember. I already said, like, the gift cards. That seems to be a trend right now where they try to get you to go to, Shaw's or somewhere that sells gift cards. And they'll tell you, get six, $300 gift cards and send them to, some fictitious address somewhere, and you'll be all set. So, it's not a legitimate. Who would go and buy gift cards and send it to somebody that would be a legitimate business? No one. So if they're telling you to use gift cards as payment, it's a scam. If they tell you to go and send a payment, Western Union, okay? Did everybody hear that? Western Union. Okay, as soon as you hear that term, Western Union, it's a scam. Okay? It's 100% a scam. Because if you know anything about Western Union, it's you can't track it down, and you're not going to get your money back. So again, please, do not send any of your hard-earned money to anyone for any reason until you either talk to a family member or a friend or the police, someone. It's always been the case when somebody received a scam call and they immediately went out and did what they were, asked to do, and it wasn't until after they thought about it, when they told somebody, that it was determined that it was a scam, and now you're out the money. Okay? There's no way of getting that money back once you send it. Okay? So there's a couple other phone scams. They'll actually call, and what they call spoofing is these computer-generated phone calls. They can actually they could use the Merrimack Police non-emergency number as the incoming call. So your caller ID will actually have the Merrimack Police number on it, but it will be a phone scam. Okay? So, we won't be calling you telling you that, we have your grandson and, he needs $3,500 to get out on bail. Okay? We always let people make the phone call themselves. Okay? So, please, the big scams. Let's move on to some summer swimming issues. Okay? Please, never swim by yourself. Okay? It's not a good practice, and it's dangerous. Anything could happen to you. You could have a health issue. The temperature of the water, like early summer and late summer, the water temperature fluctuates a lot. You get cramps. You might, hypothermia might set in, and you won't even know about it. So please don't swim by yourself. And the location of where you're swimming, right? If you're not familiar with the location, be careful of current. We have a swimming hole at Wildcat Falls that we've had, a number of drownings over the years because there's current in that river. So if you're not familiar with the area, be careful, or ask somebody. But that's why you always have somebody else with you so they can call in case of an emergency. Bike safety. Here's here's a pamphlet here, okay? It's the law. Anyone 16 or under must wear a helmet, okay, if you're driving a bicycle on a roadway. And it's good for everybody. I just state the law, but no one should be riding a bicycle without a helmet. You know, you get a brain injury, it's permanent. But if you go on the RSA 265:144X, you can look up all the bike laws and regulations. You can actually be fined for not wearing a helmet. Okay? And make sure, you know, some safety tips. Inspect your bike. Make sure your tires are good. They have good tread. No dry rot. You know, your chain is adjusted properly. Obviously, if you have brakes, if you don't have brakes, you can't ride that bike on a roadway. It's against the law. If you ride at night, you must have certain lights. You have to have a white light in the front and a red light in the rear. You know, all these safety points. So the big thing with riding a bike is you must obey the laws just like you're driving a vehicle. So if you come upon a stop sign, you must stop at the stop sign, right? Look both ways, then you can proceed. If it's a traffic light, same thing. You have to obey the rules of the road, even when you're on a bicycle. Okay? So it's important. Use your hand signals. And follow all these rules. And, big thing is being respectful on the road. When the law states that you must be driving in a single file, if you're driving with a bunch of friends or, a group of you, you've got to ride in a single file. You can't ride 2 abreast, 3 abreast, and, create a traffic issue. Okay? You're sharing the road with cars, so. All right, this is the end of the show. I will see you next month. Thank you.